Have you ever imagined living in a city where the ocean is literally higher than your roof? Sounds impossible, right? But in the Netherlands, millions of people wake up every day knowing that a thin wall stands between them and billions of tons of seawater. And according to new scientific warnings, that wall may not be enough forever. Most people think of the Netherlands as a peaceful country, filled with tulips, windmills, and bicycles. But what if I told you that much of this nation should actually be underwater right now? And here's the craziest part. The Dutch aren't just fighting the ocean above ground. They're now fighting water that's secretly invading from below. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why one of the most advanced countries on Earth is locked in a never-ending battle against nature itself. Imagine it's late at night. You're relaxing at home when emergency alerts suddenly appear on every screen. A powerful storm is heading toward the coast. Waves in the North Sea are rising higher and higher. At the port of Rotterdam, one of the busiest ports in the world, ships stop moving. The atmosphere becomes strangely quiet. Then, something incredible happens. Without a human pressing a button, a massive computer system takes control. Two gigantic steel gates begin moving toward each other. Each gate is almost as long as the Eiffel Tower is tall. This structure is called the Maaslandkering, and it's one of the largest moving structures ever built by humans. As the gates meet in the middle of the waterway, they fill with seawater and slowly sink into place. The barrier locks itself to the bottom, creating a giant shield against the incoming storm. Meanwhile, people nearby continue drinking coffee, watching TV, and going about their normal lives. Most have no idea that a silent battle is taking place just a few miles away. On one side of the barrier, enormous waves slam against steel with incredible force. On the other side, streets remain completely dry. This single system protects millions of people. And if it ever failed during a major storm, the consequences would be felt across Europe. But how did an entire country end up depending on giant machines just to stay above water? The answer begins hundreds of years ago. Long before modern cities existed, much of the Netherlands was a giant swamp. Rivers constantly changed direction. Coastal areas flooded regularly. Large sections of land disappeared whenever tides rose. Early settlers didn't try to defeat the sea. Instead, they built homes on raised hills and waited for floodwaters to go away. But as the population grew, people needed more space. That's when they decided to attempt something almost unbelievable. They would take land directly from the ocean. The Dutch built dikes around flooded areas and pumped water out. These reclaimed areas became known as polders. Imagine draining part of the sea and turning it into farmland. That's exactly what they did. For generations, people transformed muddy seabeds into productive land. But there was a hidden problem. Once water is removed, the ground begins shrinking and sinking. Think of a wet sponge drying out. The same thing happened beneath the Netherlands. The more land they reclaimed, the lower that land slowly became. In other words, the solution created a new problem. Today, some Dutch cities sit as much as 7 meters below sea level. You're literally walking where fish once swam. And that means the battle never ends. The ocean has always been waiting for an opportunity to return. History proves it. For centuries, floods repeatedly destroyed villages and farms across the country. Entire communities disappeared almost overnight. But nothing prepared the Dutch for what happened in 1953. On February 1st, a powerful storm combined with an unusually high tide. People went to sleep believing they were safe behind existing defenses. They were wrong. During the night, seawater broke through dikes in dozens of locations. The flooding spread rapidly. Homes collapsed. Power lines failed. Communication systems stopped working. Thousands of people found themselves trapped on rooftops, surrounded by freezing water. By the time it ended, nearly 2,000 people had lost their lives. The disaster shocked the entire nation. It also forced the Netherlands to completely rethink its future. The Dutch realized something important. Nature wasn't going away. So instead of trying to beat it, they would learn how to manage it. That decision led to one of the most ambitious engineering projects in human history, the Delta Works. This massive network of dams, barriers, locks, and storm surge defenses was designed to protect the country from future disasters. Rather than simply building bigger walls, engineers redesigned entire coastlines. Some barriers stay open most of the time to protect marine ecosystems and shipping routes. But when storms arrive, they automatically close. It's like giving the country a giant emergency shield. The scale is almost impossible to comprehend. Billions of dollars have been invested over decades. Thousands of engineers constantly inspect every component, every bolt, every sensor, every gate.
Because everyone understands one simple truth. If maintenance stops, the ocean wins. But here's where the story gets even more interesting.
Today, the greatest threat may not be giant waves. It may be what is happening underground. As sea levels continue rising globally, salt water is slowly pushing beneath the coast through layers of sand. Scientists call this a saline wedge. Unlike a storm, you can't see it coming. And unlike waves, you can't stop it with concrete walls. Salt water gradually moves underground, contaminating freshwater supplies and damaging farmland. The more water people pump out to keep land dry, the more space they sometimes create for salt water to move inward. It's a dangerous paradox. Trying to keep water out from above can make it easier for water to enter from below. To fight back, engineers are developing creative solutions. In some areas, they inject fresh water underground to create invisible barriers. In others, they build artificial sand formations designed to influence water movement. At the same time, scientists monitor thousands of sensors around the country. Every tiny change matters, because even a few millimeters of land subsidence can increase future flood risks. The reality is that the Netherlands has not defeated nature. Instead, it has created a system of continuous adaptation, a system that must operate every day, every hour, every minute. Pumps remove water around the clock. Engineers inspect barriers constantly. Computers analyze data non-stop. The country survives because millions of decisions are made correctly every single day. And that's what makes the Netherlands so fascinating. It's not just a country. It's one of humanity's greatest engineering experiments. A place where people refuse to accept geography as destiny. A place where cities exist because technology, planning, and determination make them possible. But the challenge isn't over. Sea levels continue rising. The ground continues sinking. And the battle between land and water continues. For now, the Dutch remain one step ahead. The question is whether they can stay ahead forever. So here's something I'd love to hear from you. If you had to choose, would you rather live in a city protected by giant flood barriers below sea level, or on higher ground, far away from the ocean?